Never seen a lame man walk. Never heard a dumb man talk. Never seen a blind man see. I promise you will change his name. Never seen a cancer dead. Never seen all the poor get fed. Never seen a prisoner set free. I promise you will change his name. A broken heart made whole. Never seen an orphan find a home. Never seen the weak find the strength. I promise you will change his name. Never seen the sick get healed. Never seen a mystery revealed. Never seen a death man raised. I promise you will change his name. Broken heart made whole. Never seen an orphan find a home. Never seen a...
What's up, everybody? How you doing? It is time for the Big C, Bigger T podcast. I'm your boy, Bigger T, coming at you in full effect because Rex in effect is in effect. I'm gonna wreck up. I don't know what I'm saying. That goes back to high school days there.
Yeah.
But joined as always by my man, Clint Clark, Big C. How you doing, man?
And I'm fantastic. I'm better than I deserve. I got a cookie dog right here at my feet.
Oh,
you can't
good.
see the dog, but he's in the floor, and I'm giving him back scratches right now.
Oh, good.
So Cookie Dog's having a good day.
Good.
I come across a lady on Facebook that had a bunch of pumpkins. They're just free. Just come get them. And you can tell she was one of them suburban moms that went all extra with the newborn and the baby pigs. She got the toddlers and they're all around the pumpkin, and she goes, they'll be good for a farm or something. And so I went and literally got, I would say probably no less than 10 pumpkins of different shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm feeding them to the pigs. Pigs are loving them.
There you go.
They're loving the pumpkin. I enjoy just throwing a big old pumpkin over there and just watching them all go. Rah, rah, rah.
See, if I would have saw a bunch of free pumpkins, I would have thought target practice.
See,
you go out, get the old deer rifle out, get the old shotguns out, and just because pumpkins are great to shoot at.
I bet they are.
Because they'll have pieces fly up in the air, so it makes it look cool.
Yeah, it's got the guts inside the pumpkin. It'll...
Yeah, that's right.
Be cool. Yeah, no, I can say, but I enjoy just watching them. I just enjoy throwing the pumpkin over there, and I didn't even smash it. I just threw it over there, and they just started.
Pigs just devoured it,
just tearing it apart.
So are you telling me that pigs are bougie pumpkin spice fans?
They are. Yeah. We're all, we're us basic white girls, we're all pumpkin spice now. We're on the peppermint now. Everything's peppermint now.
There has to be like a cartoon somewhere, like a couple pigs sitting around a table with some white girls. I just love pumpkin spice season.
Pumpkin spice.
We're gonna run it for white girls everywhere.
Yeah,
wait, pigs like that?
Listen, I don't think
it's not cool anymore.
I don't think basic white girls are listening to this podcast.
No, definitely not. This is definitely not the basic white girl podcast.
No, but honestly, that's a great name for a podcast.
It would be.
Who is the basic white girl podcast,
especially hosted by two guys like us.
Yeah, like 40-something-year-olds pushing 50.
Yeah, the basic white girl podcast. That's our next. That's our next podcast.
Clark and Travis Johnson.
Yeah. Hey,
welcome to your basic white girl podcast.
Today we're going to talk yoga pants. Why they're the greatest.
I personally love them. When I'm doing yoga.
Yeah.
And that would be it. We'd have to talk basic white girl things like yoga pants.
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
It'd be like us playing the name game with the hockey players.
Yeah.
Get like 2 names in, and we're like, we're done.
Like Wayne Gretzky and then Gordie Howe, and then like you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're done. That's it. Well, Clint, we got to do Holy Shnikes, and our Holy Shnikes moment has got to be,
yeah, for sure,
the madness of the playoff. It's the last year of a 4-team playoff. Okay. And, you know, a lot of people are saying good thing for that, because you have an undefeated Power 5 championship team in Florida State that is on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
So, Clint, my question, did they get robbed? If so, who do they replace in the top 4?
You know, going into championship week, 2 things everyone thought was going to happen was LSU. I mean, not LSU. Louisville was going to beat FSU because they were starting a true freshman backup quarterback.
Third string.
Yeah. Back up to the backup, which is a position I'm familiar with. Very familiar. I spent years there. Like, if the guy in front of me gets hurt and then the guy behind him gets hurt, they'll probably move Gabe over from right guard, and then they'll put somebody else in at right guard. But then if Gabe gets hurt, no, but they thought Louisville would win. And I think a lot of people thought, okay, worst case scenario, Alabama beats Georgia. They thought one of those 2 things would happen, that Georgia would either beat Alabama or Florida, and that there wouldn't be this controversy. The big controversy is, do you shoot Texas up over Ohio State? That would have been the big discussion. Ohio State kind of got hosed in this entire thing because nothing they thought would happen happened. And then you're seeing like a mass exodus out of Ohio State. Now, to answer your question, now that I just went all the way around it, but that's what people thought was going to happen. Here's the thing. To me, yeah, Florida State got hosed. It's like, I understand it, but there's no way the Florida, and look, I'm happy that if anybody had the displeasure of having this happen to them, it was Mike Norvell. But you gotta hate it.
Yeah.
Gotta hate it for them kids. And you know, how do you feel being that third string quarterback, true freshman, 18 years old, and basically a committee looking at you and saying, it's because you're not good enough, which is basically what happened. They looked at that kid and say, you're not
just
good
that
enough.
Clint. They looked at that starting left tackle, that starting running back, that starting defensive end, that starting linebacker, the other 21 players on that team that have busted their butts to get an undefeated season, okay, to win the last 2 games with backup quarterbacks in there. Okay, now they may not have been pretty wins, but they were wins. But they told them, you're not enough. You need to have a star player. Since you don't have a star player to get people to watch on TV, y'all get to go to another bowl. Forget you're not in the playoffs.
And let's just be honest. And you know, I love to rag on Norman. Everybody knows, had that been Brian Kelly, Urban Meyer, you know, you list the coaches, and I agree with Stephen A. Smith that been Deion Sanders coaching that team. Florida State is in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're in the playoffs. This was the one year you could actually make a case for the SEC champion not to be in, because there were 5. When it come down to it, there are 5.
So is that who you replace them? If you take out somebody,
you take Alabama out because you played Texas. Texas beat you. there's one of those. There's two of those teams that are undefeated. I agree. Michigan was a no-brainer. Michigan passed the eye test. Washington as well passed the eye test. Oregon winning against Washington was another thing that I think a lot of people thought that would happen that didn't happen. Now you've got the Who Wants to Really Be Here Bowl between Georgia and Florida State. Because, I mean, it's just going to be – that is going to be the worst bowl. I'm predicting right now that will be the worst bowl game in the history of bowl games because neither team wants to be there.
Well, here's the thing, Clint. There's two ways to fix this. Okay. One way to fix it is coming next year.
Mm-hmm.
You put 12 teams in the playoff. That's going to fix it. You're arguing. You're going to be arguing between who should be number 12. That won't get as big of an argument because
you're not
going because you're going to have conference. All your conference champions will be in for sure, and everyone that is controversial. That I mean, you're going to get pretty much everyone that's questionable will be in. Okay. There'll be some arguments every now and then for that number 12 spot, but it's not going to be like it is this year. Okay. Because you're at least covering every major conference will get their team in. Okay. Yeah. But you know what else would have fixed it this year, Clint?
What's that, bud?
Get off my lawn, baby. The BCS would have fixed it this year.
Oh my, yep. You know what?
You have two unquestionable, undefeated teams that were ranked, voted the highest in Michigan and Washington. And that would have been your championship game. If the BCS was still alive and well.
No, you were 100%. You were right this time. But are you going to now take scheduling and everything into effect?
Mm-hmm.
Everything into effect. Take scheduling and everything into effect. Top to bottom, every team playing 100%. Who are your top four teams?
If I was just saying if I was in a tournament, who's going to win it?
Well, what I'm saying, to me, the top four teams just passed the eye test is Michigan number 1, Georgia number 2, Alabama 3, and Alabama probably no. I'd say Texas 3, Alabama 4.
I agree with those.
I think Washington's going to get drummed by Texas.
Well, and here's the problem with the BCS deal, right?
Yeah.
Is at the end of this tournament, I think it's going to be Alabama winning it all.
I do too.
I think that's who ends up. I think that's who brings it home. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I don't, but hey, you know what? I say that the SEC's record against out of conference division, Power 5 teams this year is not good. It's not good at all. LSU lost to Florida State. I mean, there's, Bama lost to Texas, so I say that. Who knows?
Well, but I'm going to ask you another question. Whether they got something, whether these yahoos got something else right, and you don't know this. You didn't know this is coming. I'm coming out of left field. The Liberty Flames, 13-0,
mm-hmm.
get an automatic BCS. I mean, not BCS, New Year's Six bid,
mm-hmm.
right? For being the highest ranked team. Did they get something that SMU deserved? Because I think they did. If you look at Liberty's 13-0, and I think the toughest school they played was New Mexico State.
Yeah.
They played literally nobody. No, they went. They did what you asked them to do. They went out there and they won every game. Won their conference championship. They're 13-0. Congratulations. SMU's only 2 losses were at Oklahoma and at TCU, which TCU wasn't last year's TCU, but they're a Big 12 school, and you don't get them places to come. Well, I say that you don't get them places to come to your home stadium, but it's TCU. It's across the street.
Yeah.
It's Dallas, Fort Worth. I mean, it's like going to Little Rock to North Little Rock. But that's my drift. Or did they punish SMU for playing a tougher schedule? I mean, obviously, this isn't going to be a discussion next year because no, this actually will be a discussion next year, and this is actually a very good discussion because you say, well, next year SMU is going to be ACC, so it's going to be irrelevant. And right now, you're just talking bowl games, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just talking bowl games right now. But what are the rules of the 12-team playoff? It is the highest, the top 6 ranked conference champions gets in.
Yeah.
That means Liberty this year would have got in over SMU. Yep. And literally, I would say the Tulane win at Tulane for the conference championship was better than any win that Liberty had.
Yeah.
So do you think, I mean, but it's kind of like of course we're going to talk NIL and all that, and we're going to talk transfer portal and all that, but are we going to see a trickle down effect where like these schools like SMU are going to be like, man, I'm not going to play a Power 5 school. I don't pay one because if I got a chance to be in the playoffs if I can go undefeated, and I can go through the MAC undefeated, but if I have to go to Arkansas to get a paycheck, I ain't going to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think these super conferences are going to end up weeding all that stuff out down the road. I think, we're going to deal with that for a little while. But once the super conferences take effect, that won't be an issue anymore. We'll be done with dealing with that.
And by the way, if the top 12 teams went in this year, if it was next year, the Florida State would have been the only non-Big Ten SEC member in the top 12. Because all the other schools were because Texas coming to the SEC.
Yeah, because you got
and then Washington going
Michigan, Washington, Texas, Bama, Florida State, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Missouri, Penn State, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. LSU would have been left out at 13.
Yeah. Well, and so would Oklahoma because they were the number 12 team. And what's their face? I've just been talking about them. Liberty would have taken their spot. Where, and like I said, I'd make the case that I think SMU deserved that spot because they played Oklahoma. They went to Oklahoma, got within 17 of them. Then you had
they got Liberty ranked 23rd.
Yeah, and I think they got that wrong.
Yeah.
No, of course, no. I mean, outside SMU, they have SMU Sports Talk Radio. No one, but no one's talking about it.
Sure, they do.
I'm sure they do. But I think if Rhett Lashley keeps it up next year, I don't think next year will probably be Rhett Lashley's last year at SMU.
Yeah.
I mean, he's proven himself as a coach.
And,
for
sure.
I'm happy for him. But anyway, enough about that.
The transfer portal has opened.
Yeah.
The portal has opened and people are flying in and flying out. Arkansas has had some players, say they're going to the NFL. And Cam Little, and then some saying they're going to transfer. And I believe Malik Chavez was the last one today.
Yeah,
the latest one. That it hasn't been as fast and furious as I think a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah, I think last year they expected a lot of these guys went in there, and I think you looked at this team, and I think they're looking at go, this is pretty fixable. I really do. I think they're looking at. I think everybody is fixable. There's only two in there that right now that, of course, that being said, we're waiting on KJ Jefferson's decision.
Which I've been saying for a long time. I think he's gone.
Yeah.
I think he's,
he may be waiting to see how some of this stuff above him shakes out. But I
think he's weighing, I think right now he's weighing bids for the biggest NIL draw he can get.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
You know, I've said I think KJ should go ahead and just go to the NFL. That's been my opinion for a while now. But the problem is now Matt Rule come out and said a portal quarterback's going to cost you anywhere from $1 million to $2 million. With, you know, and you're seeing so many quarterback starters, like every one of them going in the portal.
Good.
Yeah,
I mean, Ohio State, Oklahoma. I mean, all these, you know, big teams losing big name guys. I saw where the Johnson brother, the tight end for Texas A&M, entered the portal. There's, you know, so there's some people thinking, you know, with Petrino's connections there, that we may go after him.
Man, you know, and I'm not just saying this. I think we're pretty set at tight end. I mean,
I'll tell you, I loved seeing that Haas and Washington both said they were coming back.
Because Washington was one of them that a lot of people thought was gone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that thought he was gone.
But I think everybody had high hopes that Haas was going to stay, and he proved it, came out right away.
Yeah.
And then we got one out of the portal. We got a 6'7", 240-pound, supposed to be the number one tight end in the portal right now, committed to us. So add one to the show there.
No, I agree. And really, Devin Manuel, I think that one hurts a little bit because I thought he was our best tackle last year. You've got a few guys that have a choice between super senior years. I saw that Brom will be coming back, you know, should be. And of course, there's still the transfer portal a thing. You got Kudus and Chambly, and, you know, I think they'll get coached up. I just think a lot of the way they were blocking and a lot of the run schemes they had, they didn't fit this offensive line. I really don't. But I think you've got a lot of talent coming back. I was like, man, the losses in the linebacker room hurt.
Yeah, man. That's been the biggest. I think I'm with you. I think the problems were bigger than just the offensive line stunk.
Yeah,
I think there was communication issues. I think those guys under the right coaching, under the right offense, and I think if other things around them, I think there was problems between KJ and Enos. I think there was problems with, I think there was just problems all around. Okay. And so I think that's why a lot of them are coming back. But I'm with you. The tight end losses, they hurt, man. Pooh Paul, he's a guy I was hoping would be his whole career at Arkansas. Then Crook also had a good year. Manny Powell's another one that he didn't get to play a ton, but he's a guy. He was a good young athlete that, you know, losing those three guys hurts. Now the other guys are good that are left. I mean,
you got Jaheim Thomas back now, and that was I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was our leading tackler for the year. And that you got some young guys, but behind them that you know, I mean, Carson Dean's a name you hear a lot. He's back there.
Sherman.
Yeah, I mean, there's I read an article on it today. I feel good about the secondary. I really do.
Yeah.
I know Nudie is what they all call him, has the potential to come back for super senior year. But from what I heard, he's already accepted a East-West Shrine game.
Yeah, but there's still some talk that he may end up staying, but he did.
I think you accept, if you get invited to that game, they mean they think highly of you enough that you're probably going to get drafted in this time. Sir, I highly encourage you to forego that super senior year and go make you money, my man.
I think him and Limmer both got invited to that, didn't they?
Yeah. Limmer, I figure, and Latham also has an opportunity to be to go to the to super senior year.
Yeah.
I think Latham and Limmer, like, guys, thank you. But I think you both going to make some money in the NFL. You need to go make it.
Yeah.
And because it's a bonus year, I don't think it's going to benefit either one of them.
Mm.
If it's going to benefit you, help your draft stock. And honestly, like I said, with what KJ is going to demand out of the NIL deal, rookie minimum $750,000, so he can go play a year probably somewhere and double that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, like I said, the man,
and have a chance to go into the NFL off a better statistical year than what he had. I'll be honest with you. I mean, like I said, you think he's draftable. I don't think he's draftable at all. I think with the year he had in what was supposed to be a pro style offense, I think NFL scouts are running away from him right now.
Well, he looked like Derek Carr that first year Houston had a football team. The offensive line play was that bad.
I think if scouts watch it, I think they're going to see some mistakes he made too.
Yeah.
That caused some of it. And I mean, I'm not saying it was all his fault. Don't get me wrong there.
Can I ask you another question, Travis? This is a real, if you want a coach to show that you can play in the NFL, that's going to call plays that shows that you can play in the NFL, is there a better person to call those plays than Bobby Petrino?
No. That's the thing. Bobby Petrino may be the best coach for him. The problem is, can KJ take his style of coaching? I don't see KJ taking the in your face, the yelling, the high intense, if they all hate me, then they at least they're united in something coaching technique that Petrino puts
That's
out.
You got a great point there. There's something we've never brought up, and we hadn't planned on discussing it, but coaching style. Dan Enos, I would guarantee you, just from watching them in press conferences and seeing their demeanors, I would say he's a bit more abrasive than Kendall Browse.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a little bit more blunt, probably a little bit more in your face, and a little bit.
He's more old school.
A little bit more old school.
Mm-hmm.
You're going a little bit even further old school when you go to Petrino.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people are like, oh, Bobby Petrino, blah, blah, blah. He's going to wear on these kids these days. And that's on Petrino. Can he adjust his style enough to coach these kids?
Some kids thrive under that. Okay. You and I sort of thrived under that. I mean, our coaches were, in our high school, our coaches were like that. And we loved them. I mean,
you met Steve Mullins. Steve Mullins has been on the podcast twice, and I would not use the words warm and cuddly to describe Coach Mullins.
Sometimes you need that, okay? And that is something Petrino is going to bring to this team that maybe they didn't have this last year. Maybe Odom was that a little bit the year before, Maybe some other guys were. But
you look at what Petrino, but to be that way, to be a little bit more hard nosed than that, you have to have earned respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, just us being young men, we automatically we demand, we respect our elders. Mm-hmm. But that's at 13. You're talking about KJ's a grown man.
Well, and KJ just brought in over $1 million last year.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, he's wearing a $150,000 chain around his neck and driving a brand new Corvette, and some little 5'10" coach is going to be in his face yelling at him? I don't know. He may be the type that takes that well. He may be. I don't know. I don't know KJ. I don't know KJ well enough. But I'm saying that is something that I guarantee you he's thinking about in his decision making.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say the words Lamar Jackson, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Well, and it worked well for Lamar. And Lamar, apparently was wired to where that worked well for him. But everybody's wired different. It worked well for Ron Mallett. Ron Mallett was a big goofball. And they said, he got Petrino to laugh and, to break down barriers that no other, like Tyler Wilson said, they'd go in Petrino's office and Tyler would go sit in a corner somewhere and try to hide, and said Ron Mallett would go sit behind his desk in his desk chair and get on his computer and check his email and just treating him like he was at home, And he said, I never could. He said, I could never do that with Petrino. But he said, Mallett just had this way about him that he could do that. But Petrino would get in Mallett's face and yell at him and cuss him. And Mallett took it and used it and made him better, And so some people are just wired for that and some people aren't, Yeah. So
I just, you look at it like that, like he got Ron Mallett to the NFL and he got quarterbacks from Louisville to the NFL. And then with Lamar Jackson, I think if you have the talent to get to the NFL and your quarterback, Bobby Petrino, can get it out of you.
Oh, he can do it. You have to buy into what he's doing. And that's my question. Did KJ buy into what Enos was doing this year? Was that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. He may have, and Enos just messed it up. Okay. He may have, and Enos just messed it up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're not there in practice. We don't know.
Now off KJ and back to what we're talking about. The transfer portal is crazy. And I think part of the reason me and you talked about it, and we've talked about it for years, is the abuse of the portal that's upsetting. Because I agree, it's not right that you have basically a quarterback free agency every year. If I was a quarterback, I would literally hit the transfer portal every year and just go to the highest bidder. I mean, I would. Why not? Make your money. Like, okay,
at least flirt with it.
Yeah, I may start off at Houston. Okay, I'm starting at Houston. I'm all Big 12. I'm in the portal. Who's going to pay me the most? It's being abused, and part of the reason, and this is an overcorrection by the NCAA, and it's just caused chaos. Because when you had guys that had coaching changes, Ron Mallett, who we've talked about on here, went to Michigan to play under. Went to
Carr.
No, it wasn't Carr. It was the one after him. Brady, wasn't it, or was it Carr? But it was one of those guys. I think it's the guys at San Diego State now. But they basically, he came in to play pro style offense.
Yeah, and
they switched coaches and they went to Rich Rod, who ran the. You're right, it was Carr. So he went to play in that offense. They switched offense.
His quarterback didn't have shoelaces.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Mallett's the statue back there, and they want somebody that was going to go run all over the field, is what Rich Rod did. So he transferred. The NCAA made the decision he had to sit out a year.
Yeah,
coaches changed, but they punished Ron Mallett.
Yeah,
for not sticking with the system. So now what do you have every year? If you don't like what they had for lunch, transfer. If you think the cafeteria is better at TCU, transfer to TCU. We don't care. Whatever reason you want. They had to overcorrect because they were so incompetent for so long. What needs to
and Clint, the thing is
on the soapbox, Travis, but I'll tell you what needs to happen. The NCAA needs to go away. That's
Well,
what that's,
and
that's what
and we've talked about on here that we think. I mean, that's what's going to happen. I think the
especially
NCAA
football.
is going to end up going away. I think they'll, when the super conferences happen, they will create their own governing body to govern their athletics. And just like when the NAIA, people don't a lot of people don't realize that the NAIA was the governing body before the NCAA, and then they just ended up taking the smaller schools. And I think what's happening is there's another gap has been created. Okay, so you're gonna have the schools, the Power Five, the super conferences. They're going to be controlled by this new deal, and the NCAA is going to get the liberties, the smaller schools, Tulane, whoever else, that next level. Okay,
Yeah, your Conference USA, Sun Belt schools.
That's what I personally think. I may be wrong there. Who knows what'll happen? Okay, it may end up being something else. But here's the thing, Clint, and like you said, and here's where the problem lies. They've waited too long, and they've just opened it up to this wild, wild west. We keep hearing that, where there's no rules. It's just whatever you want to do. And instead of here, for instance, okay. I was listening to Drive Time this afternoon, and Rick Schaefer talked about that there's a guy that's promoting he's trying to save the NCAA. And what he's doing is he's suggesting that, and I don't know all the details of it, but it's something like this. Okay. I may be wrong on this. And if I'm wrong, y'all can tell me. But what it is he's saying that each university put $1 million plus like a certain amount per athlete they have competing in Division I athletics. So like some school, I think to be Division I, you have to have 15 different sports. Isn't that right? Something like that.
Something like that. And the money's got to be equal between the men and the women.
Yeah.
That's why we typically have more female sports, because football takes up so much stinking money.
That's right. So what they do is, what this guy's suggesting is that they take, and you take whatever that amount would be, and that would be your pool, your salary cap, if you would, that you can pay your players out of that money. Okay. So that way it's fair for every school. So it goes by how many kids you have, plus that $1 million that you put in it. Okay. And so like if you have, and you can distribute that money however you want to. If you want to be a basketball school, you can put most of it toward basketball. If you want to put it toward football, if you want to put it toward baseball, if you want to put it toward gymnastics, however you want to do it, but it goes to the students themselves so that there's no outside NIL money coming in. It's all money that the university is making that they put into it. Okay. Now that sounds like
it won't work.
Okay. It won't work. Partly because that's a big chunk of money for some. I mean, for Arkansas, that's not that big.
That is what you want to do is make it fair, and it's never going to be fair.
No.
And part of this is because, once again, the NCAA's stupidity.
But here's my thing, Clint. If years ago they would have decided, that when people started saying something, even when the Ed O'Bannon thing first happened, okay, long time ago in the mid-90s, if they would have said, you know what, these athletes cannot get a regular job, they need to have a way to have to where they get a fair wage for the time that they're putting in because we're asking more of them. If they're a chemistry major, they could still go out and get a job at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or whatever and make some decent, make some spending money things like that. Okay. So what if you set it up like a work study program, like the work study program is, and each athlete, whatever sport they're in, they just receive, a certain amount, like say, what's minimum wage right now? $11 and $11 an hour or something like that. Okay. So say you give them $13 an hour and give them that for, part-time job, 25 hours a week, something like that. And then that way they have that money, whatever that would add up to, that they get that along with their scholarship and food and everything like that. They get that as spending money so that they could have, money like other kids that have jobs have. Okay. Now, if they did something like that they could afford to do that with TV money and all that different stuff. They really could afford to do something like that. Okay. Because you're not talking about huge chunks of money. But the way they did it, they sat back and did nothing for all these years. Right. And now there's no way to bring it back. I mean, it's out of the horse is out of the pen, and there's no way to bring it back in. You couldn't bring it back in to where these guys and girls got just a normal, decent wage for their time that they did. Now it has to be, if you're an SEC quarterback, you got to get $1 million.
Well, here's the problem. Travis, you ever went somewhere and you knew somebody that worked there and they're like, nah, man, your money's no good here. Go, just hit the bricks, man. I'm taking care of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You been somewhere that's happened?
Yeah.
Right? Been somewhere to get about to eat and they say, you're good, man. Hey, will you just sign this or something like that? And maybe they knew you from somewhere. Well, they said Terrell Pryor was going to be suspended for 4 games for doing just that.
Yeah.
Now, for some reason, they let him be eligible for the Sugar Bowl, which made no sense. But what I'm saying is there were that kind of ridiculous decisions. That was the ridiculous decision.
Yeah.
Where they're like he signed memorabilia to get a tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm sitting there and go, okay, I can either sign. Maybe this guy's a big Arkansas Tech third string center fan, and they're saying, hey, man, look, we'll give you this. Just sign this 77 jersey for me. You know what I'd have said? Like, give me a pen.
Jameis Winston.
He should be able to do that. If someone wanted to pay Johnny Manziel for his autograph, he should be able to do that. You realize how much money Johnny Manziel made the University of Texas A&M? Buttloads.
Mm-hmm.
Buttloads. So many number 1 jerseys. I don't know. I can't remember.
But Clint, there had to be. The thing is, though, I mean, what we're seeing right now, though, is those people are making money off that, and it's causing problems on the teams. Problems that, that's been one of the. Read between the lines, man. Listen to the coaches. That's been the problem. That's been a big part of the problem in Arkansas locker room the last 2 seasons. Is some people are getting a lot of NIL money and other people aren't. And coaches are not handling that well. The team's not handling that well. And it's causing contention between the team.
Dude,
that was why the strength and conditioning coach got fired. Because he was pubbing it up. I know it's happening to everybody. Some people are handling it better.
But the problem is it's overcorrection because of the NCAA stupidity. Yeah. That's the long and short of it. If it would have been ran right to begin with, we wouldn't have this mess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the long and short. I mean, I just want to be blunt on it. Okay, now we're almost at the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
We got 10 minutes left and we're at our hour.
Yeah.
So we ain't even touched the best news. That was the devil went down to Fayetteville and got the court stormed.
That's right.
I didn't come up with a clever transition, but obviously basketball, unranked, still after those 2 losses. I think you're seeing that right now that North Carolina is really stinking good.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those smaller schools in North Carolina are pretty good. UNC Wilmington beat Kentucky. We took it on the chin versus Greensboro, and from everything I've heard, is Greensboro's got a very good basketball team, and come March, you're going to be seeing some of them. Memphis, I still think, was one of the worst officiated basketball games I've ever seen. But it's an L nonetheless. So you lose those 3 games, and so Arkansas, they needed that win versus Duke, and they got it. And I thought it was a very good game, and you saw them be clutch. And that was out. Trayvon Mark was out for that game. Travis, what were your thoughts, bud?
They played well. My boy Brazil, I think I predicted 3 threes. He got 4, wasn't it?
Yeah, had a good game.
Devo did not play so well. He got hit in the head. And so he was out a lot of the game. But what game he was in, he played so well as far as he didn't score a ton, but he just does whatever it needs to be done in that game to win that game. He just does. He's just so good at that. Man, Battle played well. Ellis came back and played well in that game. Davenport started that game. Lawson continues to play bigger than what he is with those long arms, blocking shots and stuff. They moved the ball well. They shot the ball well. They did a lot of those things that we said they didn't do well down in the Bahamas. They did those well, and they did those well against Foreman too. Foreman was it Foreman, whatever.
Yeah. It's an F, man.
That was a good team too that they beat. That's gonna be a good one. It'll make up for a couple of those losses. Because they're going to beat a lot of good teams this year. But yeah, man, I think this team I think they're coming around now. We got Trevin Brazil has twisted his ankle. So we want, of course, a speedy recovery for him. We need him back as quick as possible. But man,
big game this Saturday. They play at Tulsa against number 19 Oklahoma.
That's right. That's going to be a good game. That'll be a real good game, and hopefully it'll be a good game, and hopefully we'll win it.
Yeah, hopefully so. That's been I think we went 500 against them. I think they've been doing this for 2 years, and year 1 it kind of went off the rails, and they got us pretty good, and then we got them last year. I can't remember what they're calling this, like the Crimson and Cardinal Clash or something
like that. Yeah,
crap like that. But it's Arkansas versus Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma's coach. I'm a big Porter Moser fan. When he was at Little Rock and when Nolan got fired, a lot of us wanted him to go after Porter. I think he went from there to Illinois State and he just didn't pan out. And then from there he wound himself at Loyola Chicago
Catholic school, and
he killed it there, and he segued it to a big time job. And we'll be welcome to the SEC next year. Didn't even think about that. Porter Moser coming to the SEC next year.
That's right. Yeah. Well, the basketball team's coming around, man. They're coming around. Muss seems to be in good spirits. He doesn't seem as frustrated as he was at this time last year.
Yeah.
Even with the 2 losses they had in the Bahamas, he doesn't seem as frustrated as he was. So I think I don't know, man. I think he's kind of pretty easy to read. He wears his emotions all out there. So it should be fun to watch. And then I did want to say one other thing about the portal. A lot of people, you hear a lot of Hog fans. They hear about somebody leaving and they think they start saying, well, the Hogs are just losing everybody. Everybody's running from that dumpster fire. Okay, y'all, we're not losing all that many. We're not losing all that many. And every school is dealing with the same thing. Schools that had better records this year, that had, more wins, that looked better on the field than we did, are dealing with more portal entries than we are. Okay. So anyway, last week was
my favorite portal addition was the quarterback that transferred from Notre Dame. Was it Tyler? I think it's not. I think it's pronounced Buckner, but it's not spelled like Buckner. But he went in the transfer portal for lacrosse.
Yeah. He went from Notre Dame to Bama, and then he's going back to Notre Dame, but he's going for lacrosse.
You think he did that just so he could be in the playoffs?
No.
I don't know, but I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah. Go ahead, Travis. I interrupted you, bud.
No. And we didn't talk about it, but Rocket Sanders, it's interesting. He's talking to South Carolina.
Yeah, him and Pooh Paul were the two that I was like, this hurts. Those were the two that hurt, Pooh Paul and Rocket.
And South Carolina's also in for KJ.
Yeah. Well, you can see
what happens
with Loggins. You can see it a little bit. And I'm okay. I think I would be happy they went to South Carolina. I just don't want them going to another SEC West school that's on the schedule, or you hate that. And but I think when I think AJ Green went in the portal, and I can't blame him. I thought he was very misused last year.
He was big time.
Yep. Very, very, very misused. And if there's one player that I think I can look at Pittman but go, you didn't use that guy right. I would say that guy right there.
Last weekend was a big lot of state finals. Bentonville played Fayetteville. Fayetteville beat them. The quarterback, Jake Lindsey, is going to Minnesota. A lot of people are criticizing Arkansas for not recruiting him, being Jim Lindsey's grandson, former Razorback and booster.
But here's the thing: if he goes up there and kills it in Minnesota,
well, he, I think, what's his name? What's the coach from Minnesota?
PJ Fleck.
Fleck, yeah, Fleck, and two other guys came down and watched him play in the finals, and from what I hear, he told them, said, "Look, it doesn't matter if Arkansas comes now with, because a lot of people thinking Petrino's going to go for him." He said, I'm coming, because Minnesota's told him here's the starter from day one as a freshman. The starter from this last year and the backup have both entered the transfer portal. Yeah. So, and they're saying that he's going to be their guy.
You never know; they could be offering a MAC transfer or something like that. I wouldn't trust anybody that told me I was the starter from day one, because I would like to think that there's somebody better than me that they would start.
Another one, Bigelow. Bigelow got the big victory.
And they ain't had a football team that long. They've only had it about 20 years or so. A little bit longer.
Well, and they've actually won it in baseball and basketball within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And so they've won it in football. So that was good for them. And then who is it? The 5A school, Little Rock. Who is it? Huh?
I'm thinking Parkview, but I don't think
Parkview. Yeah, Parkview. Parkview destroyed Shiloh Christian.
Yeah.
And they're probably the best team in the state. 5 and 5. I mean, they're the best team overall.
I've heard Parkview's probably was the best overall team in the state.
They beat Bryant in head to head. And they're pretty salty. But anyway. All right, folks. Thanks for listening and watching. Hope you're staying warm out there. It's cooling off a little bit here in Arkansas. And want to thank you for listening and watching to the Big C Bigger T podcast. Keep rooting them Hogs on. I know it was a down year.
Try to do better next time, people.
Try to do better next time, okay? Take care. God bless. Peace.
Sweat
work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come, sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come.
Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Oh, I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Sun beating